Good evening, everyone. I hope you've all had a wonderful week so far and a wonderful day. We're going to be looking at the ES futures contracts. Once again, we're going to be breaking it down from top to bottom. A couple things I want to review with you guys today. I want to go over our monthly chart, our weekly chart, and our daily chart. Just kind of give you guys a little bit of an update because things have changed since we spoke on Tuesday. I was not able to make a video yesterday due to work, but however, I did make a recording of a trade that I was in yesterday, and then wanted to record today a trade that I was in that worked out really well. Two of my favorite setups, an afternoon rally high and an afternoon pullback low. And for those of you that have been around for a little while, you should know those are two of my favorite trade setups that are out and available. That you can really only identify on your 30-minute chart. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. So we'll go over those, kind of review everything that's happened. And then, I also kind of want to give a shout out to my mentor, Paul Asmar. If you guys don't have a mentor in your life with whatever your passion may be, whether it's trading or, some type of business that you're looking to get into, or just, something that's going on in your life, you definitely want to have mentors out there that have experience and that have been through some similar situations that can help guide you and pretty much just put you to your best self, accelerate that drive towards your best self. So definitely find yourselves a mentor out there that can do it all, man. I mean, my mentor, Paul, he's just great, and honestly wouldn't be half the trader that I am today without him. So if you guys don't know, I'll leave a link in the description to his channel, and if you would like to join his room, I highly recommend it. It is worth every dime. But let's go ahead and get into it. So right here, we're looking at our monthly chart. As you can see, we got above that extreme monthly balance high a couple months ago. We have been one time framing up to me for 2 months in a row now. Nice and firm 2-month trend up. This month so far has been an inside month. And in my head, what I'm kind of I'm not expecting, but what I would like to see is maybe we kind of contract a little bit this month. Maybe it's not as volatile. We have an inside month, kind of bringing the monthly from up to balance in a way by remaining within last month's range and not take out last month's high. If we did that, then we'd continue to one time frame up. But I'd like to maybe see some type of consolidation on the monthly, putting it into a balance prior to going and getting the all-time high. I think we're going to need a decent amount of momentum to get up there and push through that 4,800 level, through the 4,700 into the 4,800 level. I think we're going to require a decent amount of momentum, as that was where we had that heavy sell-off from that led to the lows in 2021. So, and then ever since then, we've bounced up pretty good. So it would be healthy to maybe have a little bit of consolidation. Not expecting it to, because probabilities favor that we continue to one time frame up, right? So just taking it into context, but that's what I would like to see. So maybe in the future, we'll have a little bit of consolidation inside month, and then, break out of an inside month to the upside with good momentum. That's just kind of what I'm thinking in my head in the future. So, keep that in mind. But right now, monthly, healthy, one time framing up, continues to set higher highs and higher lows. Now let's go ahead and look at our weekly. Something has changed on the weekly now. We took out last week's low, meaning we put the weekly initially into a balance. Now, how large do we incorporate the balance will depend on whether we continue to set new lows going into tomorrow. If we only hold today's low and don't set any more lows, we'll initially call it a 3-week balance. But if we continue to get into this week here, then we'll call it a nice 4-week balance. But initially, so far, the weekly is coming into a balance. Something to note here is after hitting that second target of March high, right, of 46.31, we've backed off pretty good and kind of doing what I'd like. You know what I mean? I wanted to see us pull back to that previous balance area of those multi-week consolidation here that we broke out of, kind of a break and a retest of that area. I would really like to see the 4,500 level be back tested a little bit more, and then there's a gap there on our daily chart as well that I'd like to see. So if I pull up that, you can see that that gap right there around the 44.95 level is where that gap is. So I'd like to see us pull back test that 4,500 level, that previous week balance, and then bounce off of it, and maybe get some consolidation there. But so far, right now, we are calling it a 3-week balance. So by taking out last week's low, we stopped the one time framing up, meaning we're setting lower highs and lower lows at this point. Now let's look at our daily. This might be a little bit more of a lengthy video, but I'm gonna try to keep it as quick as possible. But I do believe all of these things are important. Looking at our daily time frame now, and I just want to give you guys the context of what's been occurring prior to us getting into the intraday time frame. So here's our daily time frame. We were in a very large balance here. We finally took out my balance low, 45, 45, 25, got below the 20-day moving average. And so far we are drifting lower into where we gapped up from, right? That gap right there that we're looking to get into, it starts at 44.97 and it fills at 44.7850. So we're looking to get into that. Another thing to note is that this is only the second time we've closed below the 20-day moving average since back here in May. So do we continue to close below it, or do we come back into a balance on the daily time frame, get back above the 20-day moving average, and resume what we've been doing, which is bouncing off the 20 and continuing to move higher? If that does happen, then that will signify some pretty good strength. So keep that in mind. But right now, the daily is one time framing down, continues to drift a little bit lower, looking to possibly fill in that gap area. If we get that, then we could continue to drift lower and test the 50-day moving average, which we haven't done since May, right? May 24th. The only day that was closed below the 20-day moving average, back tested it. So maybe we get a little bit of back test of that at some point in time. Maybe it continues to drift up while we're in consolidation mode and gives us some type of bounce to the upside. So that is our daily time frame. Broke that balance, one time framing down, 2 days in a row. Another thing to note is yesterday we opened up with a gap down. So far we've held that gap. Today we opened with a gap down. We did not hold that gap. We filled that gap. But this gap here is now one we got to keep our eye on and potentially come back to fill at some point in time. So we now have an upside gap that is looking to be filled. The question is, which gap gets filled first? Is it the lower one or is it the one above us? That is the question. Now let's go ahead and look at our 30-minute time frame and kind of give you guys a bit of a run through of everything that happened yesterday and today, and then review the two trades and try to get you guys on your way. I have not done the homework for today, but I did yesterday's homework, and we'll review all that as well. So here we are looking at our 30-minute profile. Here was Tuesday's range. We had that 10 wide point of control. Remember how I was talking about how we had very large points of control here as potentially somebody offloading some inventory, and it looked like that might have been the case, because after that we gapped lower. Pretty decent sized gap. We got from 45.91 previous day's low to 45.70.25, where we had the high of day at yesterday. And then from there on out, we just drifted lower and continued to grind towards that 9Y or that 10Y point of control that I was talking about, or not 10Y, excuse me. Continued to drift lower to get to that low of day, to get to the afternoon pullback low, and then continue to push lower, eventually into today, where we got that 9Y point of control that I've been talking about. If we broke the balance low, we could easily, I wouldn't say easily, but we would eventually make our way down to that 9Y point of control at 45.09, which we did today. But we got all these daily lows yesterday. We went trend down with a set of single prints. I'll have to mark those because I did not mark them. We went out yesterday with an afternoon rally high, a 10Y point of control, double distribution day, And yeah, that's pretty much it. I took one trade yesterday, which was an afternoon rally high, and I'll discuss that here in just a second. Let me delete all these destinations. Let me mark this set of single prints and show you guys where this distribution is. So the upper distribution starts at A's low and ends at A's high. So from 45.70.25 to 45.58 is the upper distribution, and then the lower distribution is from C's high here at 57.75 down to yesterday's low, which we took out today at 45.27.75. And so far today, we got into and then just kind of consolidated. So let me mark these real quick. That's where single prints will fill. I did not mark these, so I got to 01, 23. And you want to definitely have these things marked on your charts, especially on your 30-minute, as they are reference points for the future. They become destinations to the upside that we'll eventually target and, you know, kind of go for. Single print start. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So after the trend day down yesterday, I was looking for an afternoon rally high potential, seeing that we couldn't really extend our low in F period, couldn't extend in G period. Was kind of expecting a bit of a rally. So this is where I'll pull up yesterday's recording and we'll review one of my favorite setups, especially when we have single prints above us. You know, this is a setup that is usually rather reliable depending on the context. It's a lot stronger when we do things like break out of a balance to the downside, right? When it comes to an afternoon rally high, if we're breaking out of a balance to the downside, it's a lot more stronger. It's a lot more stronger. Jesus. It's a lot stronger move to the downside when we have single prints and something to lean against, right? However, if it was to be something kind of like where we're in balance and just chopping around like we did these days, it's not quite as reliable as it is when we have a trend day down with single prints breaking out of balance towards the downside. So that afternoon rally high, which I need to mark as well, slacking, but right here in eyes high at this 49 level is the afternoon rally high, and that is where I got short yesterday. That is where I took my short position to roll over and pull back to where we had the point of control at the time, which was at 41.50. So from 49 to 41.50 was a great mean reversion short opportunity. And having things in context definitely helps. Understanding that we broke out of balance to the downside, that we were holding single prints, and that we had something to lean against as far as the short side goes, was a great opportunity to take the short and then use potentially East high right here at 51 as you're out. So really good risk reward trade there. And usually when you have a textbook afternoon rally high like we did yesterday, it results in setting a new low on the day. And that is exactly what happened. So had I been more patient and I didn't have to, you know, resume working, we would have pulled on back and I would have gotten out near the low of day. So now we'll just go ahead and look at how I got into this trade and how it played out. I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible. I initially set my trade location up a little bit higher, but seeing how the 144 simple moving average right here in the top left hand screen was right around the 44 level. That's kind of where I was initially going to begin looking earlier. It was a lot closer to the 50 level instead of the 41 level, but it had lined up pretty good, and I was kind of trying to move everything around. Now you'll see me move my stop up. If you're paying attention to my DOM, you'll see me move my stop up basically above VWAP around the 60 level. Keep in mind I'm trading MES, so in doing so it allows me to add to my position. But you can see I just gotten short a 5-lot position, now a 10-lot position. I'm just kind of flipping back and forth between my tabs, managing my position. So I'm in around the 44 level. we're bumping our head against the 144 simple moving average, which is also something that kind of helps align a target or a location to take the short. So seeing that was there, we pushed up to 44, and I had the idea of adding to the position as we moved up, and then I was adjusting my stop as well as we were pushing up. I was kind of just trying to make sure I managed everything to the best of my ability. So on one of my accounts, I was short a 20 lot, I do believe a 15 lot, a 10 lot, and another 15 lot on the other account. But as you can see, I was short here at the 44 level. I'm looking for this thing to rotate back down into the 39, maybe the 40 level, because at the time I really wasn't sure if this was going to be the afternoon rally high. So if it came in, I was thinking I'll take off the position, and then I'll add to it or I'll get back into the position if we move back up. So let's readjust here. As you can see, I'm in the money a little bit on one of the accounts. We're just kind of hanging in there. I'm adjusting some things. We continue to pull back down. I'm up pretty good on that one account. So I look to get out half my position here at the 41 level as we had pulled back in. See me adjust my account because for some reason it gets a little funky. Now I'm short even more on the other accounts. Moving my stop up now to the 62 area as I'm anticipating this thing to continue to push up a little bit more, where I would be adding to the position as well. So I'm still short 44, nothing changed. We continue to push up. I don't think I get filled on the rest of my short. I'm trying to remember. I just added there on one account. Begin to add on to the other accounts around the 45, 46 level. This thing begins to roll back in, and I'm just looking to take it off at the point of control, which at the time was 41.50. As you can see on the 1 minute chart, the 144 simple moving average, we closed above it a few times, but now we're beginning to reject and push back below it. So now I'm just looking to get out of the rest of my positions across the board and take profits as we push down. Now, normally I was also pressured for time here. So as we're coming in, we're tagging 41, 40. I begin to get out of my position. I use the cancel all and take profit button basically as we were down there around the 41 level. But you can see clear rejection of that simple 144 simple moving average here, pushing down to that 40 level. And then I began to just take profits off the board as I had to gear up and get ready to go back into work. So had I not been pressured for time, I definitely would have remained in the trade and let this thing continue to work out in my favor. As you guys can see, I was up pretty decent across the board on all 4 of my accounts after taking that profits and taking that short initially in G period and then getting out. I initially took it again in I period and it rolled over again, and I added to that. I just did not catch that portion on the feed. And then as for today, I caught what would have been an afternoon pullback low until we took it out. Today wasn't a textbook afternoon pullback low. After gapping lower, having overlapping the lower value, the daily's one time framing down. So taking things into context here, I definitely didn't want to stay married to the position that I was in today, but ended up doing just as well as yesterday on one trade and one trade only. And that was when we pulled back in I and in J period. I was looking to get long around the 26, 29, and 25 level on the pullback. And I had my stop here just below 23. Because if we got below there, then I was anticipating us kind of revisiting the open or value low. But, I didn't want to stay married to the position. So I was looking to initially push back up into the 144 simple moving average. Let's see, where are we at? Trying to find the location real quick on the chart. Right here. So I was getting long in this area here. Maximize this. Zoom this in a little bit. So as we began to pull back in on that sell-off and all the week longs that were up here buying, thinking this thing was going to go to the moon. But, in my head, I'm keeping in context that we had overlapping the lower value. These, we couldn't get that 10-wide point of control from the previous day. We were trying to find acceptance into the lower distribution, and we just missed that 10-wide point of control. The fact that we couldn't get that, kind of was thinking, all right, maybe we come back in and widen out the point of control. At the same time, Paul was also in our ear, kind of guiding us through, giving us what he was thinking was going to happen as well, which was aligning with where I was looking to get long at. So he was actually on the short side on the way down. I was looking to get long where he would have been looking to get out and take profits. So as we pulled back in HI and in J period, I began getting long in I period and in J period, collecting around I believe 50 lot. I want to say 50 lot across the board is what I was long. Average price was right there around 25. And I was looking for us to bounce back up into the 144 simple moving average. So I was getting long here and I was looking for us to rotate back up into that 144 simple moving average where I would have gotten out of my trade at the 31 level. So I was getting long 25s, right? I was buying here. Stop was here. So stop was here. And then I was buying all in this range here, right? In this little consolidate. Oh, no. But you get what I'm saying. In that little consolidation area, I was buying and accumulating my position all in this area, and then eventually guide out at my target of 31. The reason I got out was because we had the 144 simple moving average above us. Given all the context ahead with overlapping the lower value, we had gotten the overnight low. We had the initial balance low. We had a gap that didn't hold, but we did have a gap. And then seeing that we failed to get that 10-wide point of control from the previous day, I just didn't think buyers were going to be as strong. So I got out of the position, and good enough I did, because after I got out, we rolled back over, and I was happy to take my profits and meet my target. Had this thing continue to run up, I might have looked to get back in at a different time on a pullback against the previous time frame's low, but I was very happy with how I handled that trade and took that trade there. So yeah, let's go ahead and give you guys some destinations today. We only have today's high and today's low to mark. Sorry for this video being 23 minutes long, but you know me. If it's less than 20 minutes, you're lucky. All right, so we got 45.0575, today's low of day. Also, I think I labeled everything as 01 yesterday, so I might have to go back and change that later. There's today's low of day. We have today's high of day at 40.50. So the question for tomorrow is, do we continue to one time frame down? Do we continue to one time frame down, setting new lower lows on the daily? Right? Do we continue to do that, or do we eventually pop today's high after the non-farm payrolls come out? And especially with Amazon and Apple's earnings that came out today that looked relatively good, do we come in tomorrow, taking out today's high, opening above this 10-wide point of control, and then taking back this trend day, putting ourselves into an initial 3-day balance? Looking to get into that gap on the upside? That is a question. Or do we remain in consolidation and continue to push lower and get into the gap on the downside, like I was discussing earlier? If we get into that gap, we have an 11-wide point of control that we did carry forward that we would have to hit before the gap fills. So 11 wide point of control down here at 44.83 would be the ultimate target. Obviously, the 4,500 level would be big, especially that's where the gap starts. And then that 44.83 would be your next target. For the upside, you have the afternoon rally high from yesterday at 45.49. Then you have 45.57.75, 45.58.50 where the single prints fill. High day 45.70.25 where the gap starts, and 45.91 where the gap fills. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you guys in tomorrow. Remember, another day, another dollar. Be happy.